to hit record, which is important. Hi, Mickey. Hi, Karen.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi, we have another country, England, United Kingdom. So we already have several countries here. That's awesome. I know we're also waiting for Brazil. My old home. And Miami, my old home too. It's still my current home, partly. Karen, hi. I haven't seen you in ages.
Been forever.
Tell us, which state are you in?
I'm in Maine.
In Maine. Okay, yeah, right. Right. Thanks. So I'm going to actually switch the music off shortly because I want to hear you properly. And let me just do that. Okay. Yeah, we are here. And I know that some other people are still going to join live for sure. So maybe we just give it a minute and feel free to introduce yourselves. I know quite a few people also are actually traveling and working today. That's fine. There will be a replay for everybody, whether you are here today live or not. You will get the replay shortly after. So either tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay? Okay, so who wants to start? While we are only a few, we can do this. And it's probably not going to be a huge group, as I said already, because some people have signed up and said from the beginning, a lady in Italy, another lady from Germany who is traveling in the Netherlands right now. So people are busy, I get that, and they wanted the replay though. So we'll have quite a few of those. Okay. First of all, welcome, and I'm gonna say that again later as we have more people on, but for right now, who wants to start and just do a quick intro?
Okay, I'll start. My name's Mickey Wynn. I'm a musician in Brighton, England, and I'm interested in this work that Regina's offering.
Thank you. And Mickey also just published a book.
I did. It's called The 14-Day Songwriter, and it's available as a paperback on Amazon.
Great. Thank you. All right. So who's next?
I can go on. I'm Sabine from Germany. I do energy work and I'm in the same course as Regina. So yeah, I already know, but I don't know her way to present it. So I'm curious to see that.
Yes, and today we're actually mixing a few things up. So there might be a few new things. I'm checking my phone right now. So Sabrina is saying she is coming on shortly from Brazil. And while we're just in the introductory phase, I still have my phones on and then I'm going to switch them off just to check people, have all the links and everything. Okay. Karen.
Hey. Well, all right, I'm up. I'm Karen Stultz. I'm the creator of the Heart Energy Techniques and the Awesome Life Success System, and starting a new podcast. So I'm really excited about that, helping people, helping midlife women who really just need a little help along the way to release all of the stress, strain, overwhelm with a lot more ease, a lot more relaxation. So that's what I help with. And Regina has been in my world for a long, long time.
Yeah, with some pauses, but we're still connected.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah, that's lovely. Yes. So, Barbie, are you available?
I am.
Okay.
I didn't want to take away from you.
No.
Barbie here in Miami, Florida. Regina already said, and she's been in my life for about 4 years.
Maybe. Yeah.
About 4 years.
Time. Yeah.
What I do is I'm a recording secretary for Florida. That's a whole other other kind of worms.
Right.
But I basically just help people get free. That's all.
And she has a lot of other great qualities and skills that like, fixing whatever you want to fix in your house, basically. So she does also tiles, or did in the past. So she's very talented as well as everybody here on this call, I think. Okay, so we haven't heard from Taisies yet. Are you available now? And please correct my pronunciation if necessary. She might not be available yet, but Sabrina is coming on. So we have Brazil in the house. Yay. Coming on still. Sabrina, you just coming on time. It was actually your turn to introduce yourself. Amiga. Otra amiga. Are you ready to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, my
Yes.
name is Sabrina. I'm Brazilian. I'm also a therapist. And that's it.
And that's it. Okay, cool. All right. So we are expecting a few more people probably live. A few more had said they would come on live. So we'll see. I'm going to watch it here on the side to make sure we let people in. If you see someone in the waiting room and I don't see them, just let me know. And yes. And if you could just help me, Sabrina, I think you know Taisi. So can you help us pronounce her name?
Isis.
Taisis. Okay, Taisis. So the accent is on the I. Okay, Taisis. Okay, thank you. And she might still be coming on. So yeah, we're gonna jump into the introductory part. So just checking again, I am recording. Okay, great. Now, this is going to be an interactive session. Having said that, there will be a portion where I'm talking quite a bit in the beginning. I just think I've been thinking about this a lot, but I just think it's really useful to get that inspirational piece in and a little bit of explanation as well. So first of all, again, hi, everyone. Welcome, everyone. And as we said already, we have several different continents and countries in the room already. This is really beautiful. So first of all, let's just arrive fully. Let yourself be here without expectations, without attachment, just fully present. And there's nothing you need to get right. So just be present, and maybe to get that started, take a breath and smile. Beautiful. So before we dive further in, here's some basic housekeeping. I want to let you know that I may not always be looking at the camera for this session because I actually want to look at my screen to see you. I have you in gallery view. Okay, that's most important to me. And I'll also check sometimes to see what's on my notes. I want to stay on time. We have a lot to cover and it's 3 hours. So I need to, at the same time, also do that. You may ask questions in the chat at any time. And there are also some specific Q&A sections built into this session. I'm actually going to open my chat up right now so I can actually see when you ask questions here. And, if I don't see your question and I'm not currently working with somebody directly, or we're not in the midst of an exercise, then you can also just unmute yourself and ask it. Okay. So another thing, I might ask you at some point to write something down. So if you have a piece of paper and pen nearby, that might be helpful at some point. Or you could, note it down on your computer somewhere. That's up to you. And then water. If you don't have any water nearby, get some quickly now. And we'll also, yes, great. So, and we'll also have a quick bio break around the 90 minutes or so. If I forget, just remind me, okay? And now let's actually begin. So are you all ready to step into your ultimate freedom, or at least make the first steps into that freedom today, into your power, your aliveness? Who's ready? Okay, and if you can come on camera, that's always great. If you cannot come on camera all the time, that's fine too. We have Rogerio coming in, so I'm going to admit him as well. And I'm just going to go on as more people might be joining. I hope that's okay for everybody. And then Hi, Rogério. It's great to have you here. If you can come on camera, that's great. If it's not possible at all, that's fine too. And if you can come on at least for a portion of this, that would just also help me see when you have questions or when, I need to change something in the program, right? So this, again, as I said, this is interactive. So who of you is ready to step into your ultimate freedom, your power, your aliveness? Okay. And how many of you want to experience less stress and more inner peace, more harmony? And what about speeding up your magic in your life? Would that be something?
Yes.
Yes, maybe also create more of what you prefer along the way at some point. Then you're absolutely in the right place. What we're doing here today will help you make your relationships more harmonious, or at least, less stressful, right? And that includes your relationship with yourself, of course. It will allow you to deal with your unpreferred situations with greater calmness, and it will eventually also help you create more of what you truly desire and prefer. And that for some might start right away, and for some a little later as you move along. And that's totally fine. Everybody walks in their own speed, at their own pace, and how it's best for them. So I had written out this entire structure for this session last week, and then I changed it all twice. Why did I do that? Well, because my intuition told me so, right? So if you have been with me for a while and maybe even work with me as a client one-on-one, then you know that I'm all about intuition and I'm all about opening up new possibilities. So intuition is what I use a lot in my work with my clients. My clients have really appreciated that over the years. And another thing that they have appreciated is that I include always who they are, right? So including you today, I want us all to be able, in our very own way, to open up new possibilities for ourselves. Because opening up new possibilities is, of course, something most people are looking for, and especially when they feel stuck. What also happens is that a lot of people think they have only a limited set of possibilities, but that is not really true. We all have unlimited possibilities, even if it doesn't always seem that way. And at this time, I myself am actually at a point where I'm opening up new possibilities for myself again. And I've done this in my life many, many times in different ways and in different locations. Why? Because when something doesn't feel right anymore, we know that it's time for a shift. And when we resist it, change comes anyway through the back door, right? But maybe just not exactly in the way we wanted it to be, not in our preferred way. So, have you ever felt like something in your life felt off? Maybe it was a relationship or a job or whatever it is, or maybe even a living location. Ever? Who has ever felt like that? Yeah. I don't know anybody who has never felt like this, actually, right? So there is a reason things feel off. And it's usually, in my experience, because we have outgrown the old way of striving, of pushing through, of fixing, and especially fixing ourselves. So, spoiler alert here, right? There's nothing to be fixed, okay? There's nothing to be fixed about you. So maybe that old strategy of pushing got you here where you are right now. It's got you so far, but it's not maybe going to get you to where you want to go next. Okay. So if you right now feel a little stuck and like those old ways are no longer working for you, then Or maybe they, you know what? There are people for whom they never have actually really worked. I think I would include myself in that group. The pushing really hasn't worked for me so great. But in any case, what we need now is different. Why is that also the case? Because the world around us is also changing in that sense, right? So we might need more inner, more internal permission, more alignment with what's truly ours, more alignment with our core, and more momentum that comes from clarity and from your own essence, and not from pressure, and not so much from always only outside. So before giving you some context about the methods that I'm going to use today in this session, I want to really first speak from my heart directly to yours. So directly to your heart, heart to heart. Would that be okay? Yes? Anybody bored yet? Okay, let me know if you're bored, okay? Switch it up. So, so many times in my own business, in this business, not the previous ones, in this business, I was listening to other coaches and what they thought was the right thing for me to do. And deep down, if I'm really honest, I knew it was not right for me. But then what often happens is those, especially those big name coaches, they try to convince us that we're not coachable if we don't want to follow exactly what they have in store for us, their cookie cutter approaches, which may not work for everybody. They might have worked for them, but they may not work for you because you are not them. And like so many others, I also let myself be talked into doing things that really didn't feel right. Like, for example, cold messaging a bunch of people all the time and whatnot, right? So while some of the coaching I have paid for has certainly been valuable, I've also spent tens of thousands of dollars and considerable time on coaching that has given me zero ROI. Zero return on investment, even when I did follow all the recommendations, because they were not for me. And they were also not right for the people I wanted to work with. So they failed. So huge time and money investments right out the window. And I know I'm not the only one who has gone through this type of experience. Lots of people have, including some of my clients. And I do not ever want my clients to go through a similar experience with me. And this is why I always have personal conversations when I take somebody on one-on-one. And I've also always tailored my one-on-one coaching to each individual and to who they are. Because no one person is the same and no one client is the same. And I will keep it so in the future. And even in my group programs, there will always be a space where you can express yourself, your dreams, and your concerns. Because your dreams matter, right? But what I really want to get at with this whole story is actually exactly this. Your dreams are your dreams, and they matter. And so there are three things that I always inspire my clients to do. The first is recognize that your dreams matter. Second, be open to seeing new possibilities. And third, trust your own intuition, your own intuitive knowingness. I'll just quickly check here if we have anybody waiting. No, not for now, it seems. Okay. Are there any questions so far? No, everybody's still with me. Okay, Sabrina had to get up for a moment. Okay, so here's my first question, or rather two questions. What's a dream that you have not allowed yourself to have? And what's a possibility for yourself or for your life that you may have dismissed so far? And maybe the two are the same for you. So the dream and the possibility. So what's a dream that you have not allowed yourself to have? And what's a possibility that you may have just dismissed or ignored? So really think about this, and you're free to share in the chat, or you could just keep it to yourself. That's up to you. But if you'd like, feel free to share it in the chat or just unmute. Actually gives me a little bit of a talking break if you unmute. Anyone? Well, I'll give you a little time anyway to think about it if you want.
Well, for me, Regina, it's basically having unlimited financial freedom to be able to do and go and have while living life on my terms, not working hard, working smarter, easier, simpler. I haven't done it.
Yeah. So are you ready to change some of that? Anyone else?
Yeah, I would prefer
Yeah.
perfect health.
Okay.
I wish.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Fair enough. Anyone else? People are thinking, I see. So
Yeah, for me, financial independence is a big one for me with the commitments I've got. Financial freedom, financial independence, there might be a difference between the two.
okay. Yeah, so I think for most people it's about the same, right? Their bodies, their money, their relationships. So we're definitely gonna do some work on those today. And I might not go so much into the health today, Sabine, but you can also use what you see today for that same topic as well. And in the end, it's all connected. And I think everybody here on this call actually knows that already. It's all connected. Nothing's separate because, as I like to say, life is a holistic phenomenon. Right? So it's not a separate part of your life. Now, as we're going into this, my next question now is, why did you, if you ever did, okay, why did you or would you dismiss this possibility or this dream? So maybe it felt too far out. Maybe it seemed too different, too utopian, too imaginary, too risky, or too fantasy. Or maybe it didn't make sense. But here's the thing, not everything in life needs to make sense. So I, for example, have made some of my best decisions in my life when they didn't make sense, like about moving to another continent at some point. And, you know, it made no sense at all, for example, especially for other people, when I moved from San Francisco in 2005 to Buenos Aires. And I left behind a well-paying leadership role. So a colleague actually from Argentina said to me, he had just moved his entire family to Miami. And he said to me, well, we are moving to Miami because we're afraid of being kidnapped. There was a lot of that going on at the time. Even my friend Jana was carjacked too. So he said, and you moving down there? And it made no sense to them. It made a whole lot of sense to me somehow, although it didn't necessarily make sense in financially, right? It didn't necessarily make sense to my logical mind to leave my well-paying job behind and take this risk without any background for the plan I had in my mind for the dream of just opening a bed and breakfast, finding a house and opening a bed and breakfast. I'd never done this before. But it somehow made sense to my heart. My heart was pulling me. It was calling me. So as I said, not everything has to always make sense to your mind. That's not what life is always about. Your mind is not your master. Your mind is not your leader. Your mind is ideally your servant. It has a function, but not the function to lead you. So life isn't always about sense, and maybe your mind wants to make sense of everything today in this session and of everything in your life, but you are not your mind, and you are not your body either. You're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, you're not even your soul. You're not a separate entity from the whole. Can I accept Rogerio again? Yes, I absolutely can, but I don't see him. Sabrina, I see your chat message, but I don't see him yet. So I don't see him in the waiting room. Maybe it's just a minute and he needs to try again. Okay. I think Sabrina heard me. Maybe she's just, because they are in the same house probably, Rogerio and she. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna keep watching here and anyway. Okay. So why are you not separate from the whole? Because you are consciousness. At least that's what I believe. And of course, you're free to believe what you want. It's a suggestion. There is no absolute truth. Actually, there is no truth, because everything that's put in words is not necessarily truth, right? But that's a whole other chapter we could talk about some other day. Now, at the same time, even if you don't want to believe this right away, you could maybe open up that possibility for yourself that you are consciousness. And it might help you not to think of yourself as separate from oneness. So let's start there. Because as consciousness, you can create whatever you want to experience, right? So does anybody here not agree that you create your own reality? If you don't agree, then just say no. Okay, so everybody agrees that you create your own reality. And then if you've created everything you've experienced up to now in your life as consciousness, then why wouldn't you be able to create more of what you truly desire? What you'd prefer to experience from now on? Would that be possible potentially? And if, so he's still having a problem with the computer, sorry. Okay, that's fine, Sabrina. We'll keep watching here on the side. Okay, thanks. And you can just unmute if I don't see it, so that's totally fine. And okay, so, and wouldn't you then also be able to even look at what you have experienced so far from a perspective that's less pain-filled? Because everything in the past is really just in your mind, isn't it? We only have the present moment right now. And if you're really present right now as consciousness, then right now in this very moment, are there any problems? Is there any loss right now in this moment? Right? Is there any pain right now in this moment? Okay. So let's just leave this here for a moment and just remember it maybe for the rest of the session. We don't have to go further into this topic right now. It will serve you as we move along. I promise that. Now, I'm assuming you didn't come here today to limit yourself more, right? I'm assuming you came to expand in some form or to transform, to liberate yourself, maybe even. Am I right? Okay. So then actually, let's do this. First of all, I'd like to know what are some specific reasons why you signed up for this? And you could just, again, unmute, or you could write it in the chat. I'm really curious. Maybe it's just curiosity. That's totally fine too. It could be something general, or it could be something more, you know, more something that you're focusing on currently. Curiosity. Okay. Cool. That's Sabine.
Curiosity for me as well. We have known each other for such a long time, but we've never actually worked together. So I'm so grateful. We've been on podcasts together, and
Yeah.
we've done wonderful things, and I know that we're heart together. But I wanted to learn more. So curiosity, and always open to expansion.
Yes. Beautiful. Yes, and this is actually not, I've always had all those holistic modalities that I studied flow into my coaching. However, I haven't really focused so much on what we're going to do today specifically. So this is also new to me. Okay. And you are the first ones to experience this with me. I'm very grateful for you all. And I'm growing with you into this. So that is a really beautiful experience. So yeah, Rogerio should be back now. Rogerio, yes.
The camera is not working for me now, so
Okay.
you are not able to see me.
Okay, that's too bad,
I'm
but
trying
we imagine you.
to open it, but it's not working.
Okay. Well, it's great to at least hear you, and you're very welcome to participate. Okay.
Sure.
So my question was, why did you sign up for this? And I'm just reading Sabrina's right now. Be creative and be free. Learn how to flow with joy in life. Yes, beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else?
I signed up today because I'm seeing this as complementary to the work I'm doing already. And I see it as a good way to spend my Saturday afternoon. It's afternoon time here in Brighton.
Yeah, we are grateful to have you here.
Grateful to be here.
Beautiful. Okay. Awesome. All right. So today in this session, you hopefully will experience some kind of a shift, right? So it might be something that is very, very noticeable to you, or it might be something that's a little more subtle, and that's totally fine. You can always also watch this replay like 100 times and get more out of it. That's a really beautiful idea as well, to just rewatch, because you will hear different things that you didn't hear the first time. It always happens. Now, you see, I'm in a moment in my life where I'm creating another big shift too. I just feel it. And I'm not quite sure yet whether it's going to be a very disruptive shift or not. I just don't know yet. But I do know that a shift is about to happen. In fact, it's already happening now, internally. That's what I can already clearly feel. And any of you feeling that a shift is about to happen for you, already happening, or maybe it started to happen while you've been listening to me today, allow that shift to be with you. Or maybe you feel like it should be happening because you feel stuck. You want a shift to happen. And you're always free to share, by the way. When I'm asking those questions or when I'm suggesting these things, you're always free to share where you are. So just interrupt me. And if it feels too personal or too intimate, then you could just share more generally or keep it to yourself. Okay? Barbie is back on video. Would you like to share something about a shift that you are seeing in your life or would like to see? You're muted, Barbie.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Now did my video just go off too? Oh, okay, wait a second. There we go. Now, when you were talking about, have you ever had a feeling that things just weren't right and all of that? I'm actually feeling that now. And I know that a shift has to happen. And it's going to, just like you said, it's going to happen anyway through the back door. But this is the time. There's just so much going on, and I've been watching a lot of videos and studying and, you know, about the whole consciousness and who we are really and all of that. And this just pretty much coincides with everything that I've been studying and learning and flabbergasted, just of all the lies and everything that, you know, everything that's done to suppress the energy and the strength that we really have inside of us, you know. So all the brainwashing that has happened, you know, keep us in fear, keep us always stressed out, all this stuff is planted. It's not meant to be there, but here we are, you know. So I don't know what to say. I'm ready. I'm ready for that shift.
So we are here also to really step out of this being, you know, into a place where we can create something potentially different and just also find our place in whatever the world looks like for us, right? And it might be seen a little bit differently by different people, you know, different people see different things, but whatever it looks like for you, there's always something we want to change, isn't there? And what if we could be more at peace with what is? That already would be something, wouldn't it? And couldn't we then also actually contribute some of that energy and some of that consciousness? Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't mean there should never be anything done about, you know, certain things that are going on. Doesn't mean that either. However, how can we be more at peace so we can actually bring the right energy to things? Because as I talked before, you know, about certain activities that I had a resistance to when I was listening to those coaches, for example, code messaging, I didn't really want to do this sometimes. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. And when you don't want to do it, the energy that goes into it already can also actually limit what you get out of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyone else? Yes, no? Okay. So for my own shift, I'm using exactly the same methods that we'll be applying here today to bring this shift about in the way I would like it to happen. I prefer it to happen, to make it a little bit smoother and more graceful, because I prefer to move into it with ease rather than forcing it, which likely wouldn't work anyway, according to my experience, right? That's not to mean that I will not take action. Yes, I will. And I will take the action with the energy I want to take it with, and probably also more likely at the right time. So I want to share with you today what I'm using myself. Well, as much as we can fit into this session, of course, right? We have 3 hours together. So there's always an option to do more after the session, of course, and that's up to you to make that decision. I'll give you an option for that toward the end, and it's really an awesome opportunity, but more about that later. Now, let's dive in a little bit deeper, okay? I want to tell you a secret right away. All your so-called inner blocks, those inner barriers, those so-called inner limitations, whatever you want to call it, they are really just memories. Simple as that. They are memories. Yes, we talk about them as beliefs, but aren't beliefs also memories? And these memories, they need no power over you. They don't care. So you're not doing them a favor by keeping them or by keeping them active and alive and by giving them power. You know, we can turn our memories into passive memories. That doesn't mean we will forget them. It's not about forgetting the past, which is only in our minds. But anyway, it's not about forgetting the past. It's about no longer allowing our memories to have power over us, to affect us. So when you do this, your memory no longer defines you. It no longer causes suffering because you, in a way, you neutralize the story, right? In several different modalities that I studied in the past, like body talk, also there is actually in body talk, there is something specific that is called active memory to passive memory. There's a process for that. And many other methodologies have something similar, even though they might call it something different. Okay? So now how do you do that? Well, you let go of your emotional attachment to the memories. And as a result, these memories lose their grip on you. So, but wait here, there's something important that I want to say about this. You do not want to push them away either, those memories, because when you cultivate rejection or aversion to the memories, that's just the other side of the coin of attachment. And it has exactly the same effect as attachment to the memories. Okay, that's very important to realize. So it's never about pushing something away, about suppressing something. And don't we often say, what you resist persists, right? It's because of that, because it's the other side of the coin of attachment. So that's why today, as part of this session, we will focus on letting go of resistance. So some of the exercises are specifically about this. Attachment and aversion are two sides of the same coin. Both attachment and aversion, or rejection, if you prefer that word, have the same effect, and they keep you stuck in the memory and in the past. I'm saying all this again because it's really important to remember, okay? So what you want to do is neutralize the memory, turn it into a passive memory. How do you do that? Well, for example, by transmuting the emotion that's attached to the memory. That's one way. Not by not feeling it, not by getting rid of it, but by feeling it in a way that allows it to dissolve. Transmutation cannot happen if you suppress the feeling or the emotion, which I will use interchangeably here. Because suppressing an emotion is what's actually keeping you stuck, because it's keeping the emotion stuck. And it's by feeling it in a way that allows it to dissolve that you can transmute it. So that is one way. And you're going to see how we do that and how you can do it yourself actually later. And you can also neutralize the feeling by simply releasing resistance to something. Okay? So, questions so far? I need to speed it up a little bit, I see, because we are going a little more slowly. That's why I have my notes and my timing. Okay. So the two methods we're looking at today are the most effective that I have seen, and you learn to apply some basic tools from both of them yourself, and then you can, go deeper or accelerate your progress, and you can always do that with a practitioner, or you keep going by yourself. That's your choice. So as I mentioned, I'll offer you also a special option for that at the end. Okay, so let's move on. Actually, let's take another deep breath together right now. And another one. Just want to check on something real quick here while you're breathing. Okay. Just want to look at something here. Sorry for that. Okay. So this here isn't just another masterclass, as I said in the promo, right? It's really a space where I would like you to participate. It's a choice. It's a moment you get to claim, to start fresh, to see things differently from a different perspectives, to feel something shift. And maybe that's already starting now. And maybe it's starting for you a little later, and that's totally fine. And maybe you're not feeling it yet, and maybe you're going to feel it soon. And any of those options are just fine. And what is really important here to me, what I would like you to experience, so it's up to you, is that freedom that comes from doing what we're doing here today. Yes? And if you're feeling emotions, then please know that this is a safe space to do that. It's totally fine. You have permission to do that. You don't have to, you have permission. So let's have some magical moments together. Are you ready for some magic? So it's also going to be very practical, and you get the replay, as I said before. Now, the two methodologies I'll weave into this session today are, first of all, Brian Ridgway's level 5 work, and second, the Sedona method, which is great for releasing resistance, releasing avoidance, allowing more harmony into your life, right? And boy, don't we all have resistance to what we actually desire, right? And even more resistance to what we don't want. Would you agree? So let's work on that. Oh, and one thing I do want to mention for those who are not necessarily studying this content, if you didn't have resistance to what you desire, then you would already have or experience that which you desire. And of course, I include myself, right? So if you desire something and you don't have it, it's because there's some sort of resistance, something in you that doesn't want it, even though that, of course, might be subconscious. All right. So I have more to say about this, but to speed it up a little bit, and I might just share a little bit more in a separate session with you about this, if you have any questions. Now, we all have limiting beliefs, including the most absurd ones. I think we can agree on that. We all do. And we've picked them up from all those different places. And if you have them, there's nothing wrong with you, because we all have them. And you're not to be blamed or to be judged. I want you to remember this during the exercises. So there's nothing to be fixed. There's nothing to be figured out. And there's nothing to be fully understood by your mind. Okay? Because your subconscious will understand the magic that's in this. We're not here today to fix, but to remember, not to power through, but to dissolve illusions, the illusions that prevent us from having more of the experience and things we'd love to have and what we'd like to experience. Okay. So, I think we all agreed that, do we all agree that we are consciousness? Is that something we can agree on? Anybody not? Okay. All right. So, do you have any questions so far? And then I promise we go into the practical. Yes, no? No. Okay. Let's do this. So, is there anyone here familiar with the Sedona method already? Karen. Okay. Okay, Karen, so are you still up for doing it? Yes. Okay, great. So I have found it extremely helpful to release baggage. So some of you might have heard the following set of 3 questions before, because they have been integrated in some other methods as well. Could you let that go? Would you let that go? When? So a lot of methods have adopted these 3 questions, but there's of course much more to Sedona than these 3 questions. And the Sedona method was created by Lester Levinson, and Hale Dwoskin and is the one who has developed a lot of this work. And I've also adapted some of his work here for today's session, making it partly my own language. Okay. So this should hopefully make your current experience lighter and remove obstacles from your preferred experience, your goals, your vision, and your dream. Does that mean that all your goals will be achieved by using this method at once? No. Now, what you will likely see is that it will be easier to achieve more of them, and with greater ease and with less efforting and less of that hard work that Karen mentioned earlier, and less pain. And that even if something doesn't come about, you will still be fine. Okay. So before we dive into the first exercise, one thing I need to still explain. Let's talk quickly about this wanting for a moment, and how wanting can actually sometimes trip us up more than help us. You've likely heard someone say before, you didn't hit your goal because you just didn't want it badly enough. Have you ever heard that? Yeah. That line isn't just unhelpful, it causes blame, and it reinforces the myth that wanting something intensely will magically make it happen. But that's not how it usually works. And here's why. Wanting doesn't mean creating. Wanting means lacking. It comes from a place of lack. The more you want something, the more you focus on not having it. That's the difference, right? So you don't want what you already have claimed for yourself. And that's why sometimes in Sedona also we focus on letting go of wanting, because when you do, then you stop chasing from a place of lack. Does that make sense? So you release your attachment to the outcome. You release the dependence on the outcome and on getting it. And you can feel more complete, more easily, and more grounded. And more ready to act, actually, not out of desperation, but with detachment. So again, letting go of wanting doesn't mean letting go of having. It doesn't mean you cannot have it. It's just that wanting from a place of lack or scarcity or attachment can actually prevent you from having it. Okay? So today we will not force, but allow instead. We allow things to shift. So I invite you to just play along. What about we start with money? Is money something any of you would like to work on? I think a few already said yes. And Sabine just to step away for a moment, so maybe just give her a minute. Okay. Okay, great. All right. So to start, yeah, sip of water is a good idea, Sabine. So to start this work, let's just pause for a moment and allow what is to be. And you could do all this, by the way, with your eyes open or closed. It's up to you. Whatever feels good. So just allow what is to be. And this allowing what is, this acceptance of what is right now in this moment could just be your very first release. So welcome what is and allow it to be. Actually, on my desk, I have a Post-it that says that somewhere. Where is it? I have a Post-it on my desk that says, can you welcome that? And I remind myself with this Post-it every time I see something that I don't really appreciate in the moment. I ask myself, can you welcome that? And it helps me release. We're going to bring Anita in real quick. Anita, hi from Spain. So we have another country now in the room. Welcome, Anita. You're just on time for the first interactive, longer interactive exercise. Okay, so we're going to just keep going into it. So again, allow what is to be. And can you just welcome what is? Can you just welcome that? And as we're doing the next part, there's no need to answer out loud. And remember that your answers could be yes or no. There's no attachment to yes or no. You don't have to force yourself to say yes. So whether it's yes or no, you just answer yes or no to yourself silently. And remember, the only intention as we move along is to let resistance go and to set it free and release. But no pressure, no figuring it out. And we'll do questions after this first round of release, so don't worry about doing it wrong or right, okay? You cannot do it wrong. Whenever you release in the here and now. It's not about releasing in the past or in the future, so don't worry about those. They're only in your mind anyway. The now is the only thing that exists. So right now in this moment, could you allow yourself to resist not having money as much as you were up until now? Just allow yourself to resist not having money as best as you can. And just welcome any resistance to not having money. And allow it to be here just now in this moment, just now. And then could you let go of your resistance to not having money? And remember, your answer could be no, that's totally fine. We're going through this several times. And if your answer is no, then could you allow yourself to hold on to this resistance for just a bit more? Totally fine. No judgment. And then notice again, is there maybe a resistance to having money as well? Most of the time, the two appear in parallel. They go hand in hand because money usually comes with connotations, right? With thoughts about having to work hard for it, with thoughts about having to manage money, whatever it is for everybody. So usually there's also resistance to having money as well as to not having it. So now in this moment, could you allow yourself to resist not having money as much as you have been doing it? Just answer yes or no to yourself. And then as best as you can, could you let go of resisting not having money? And then again, notice that there's also maybe a certain resistance to having money. So could you let go of resisting having money? And then welcome any resistance to not having money. And could you let go of resisting not having money or not having as much money as you want? And once again, welcome any resistance to having money. And then as best you can, just for now, just for this very moment, let go of resisting having money. And then welcome any resistance to not having money or not experiencing financial wealth, financial freedom, independence, as some of you said, not having tons of funds in your bank account. And then could you let go of the resistance to not having money? And could you welcome any resistance you still may perceive right now to having money? And then could you let go of resisting having money? Could you welcome any resistance to not having money? And then could you let go of resisting not having money now, just in this moment, just now, as best you can? And if you were doing this on your own, then you can repeat those two opposite questions as long as you notice any resistance on either side. So resistance to having money and resistance to not having money. And this is also called, in Sedona, it's also called holistic releasing, because it considers both sides. So it's a bit like canceling the two opposites out, like the positive and negative charge in electricity. Okay. All right. So what have you observed? Or any questions? Yes, Karen. No.
My mouse wasn't working. I'm curious, what would you suggest? And first of all, I want to say thank you, because even though I have used the Sedona method, I have not used it in a very long time. And I have discovered that even if you do use it for yourself or for your clients, it is always good to have a facilitator. Sometimes you just need that other person to guide you along the way, to have the magic happen. So I wanted to thank you. But I'm also wondering, how would you phrase relationships with this, as opposed to, I mean, we all want more money, of course, but our relationship with money or with a person that is kind of keeping us from enjoying that?
Yeah. So are you talking about having that relationship, or about having a different relationship with that, or,
letting go of an unhealthy relationship is very challenging. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could actually use the same process and just replace the words of
So
resistance
instead of
to
money,
resistance to, yes, to having or not having that relationship. That could actually work with this too. And there are other options, of course. But
Yeah.
if you just use a simple example, you could also do that, because you might, if you didn't have any resistance of letting it go, then you would have done it already.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's resistance on both sides to having it and to not having it.
Thank you. So it's simply, we can use this same technique with the same verbiage, just replace the money with relationship, with health, with whatever.
You could, yes. It's an
Okay.
example. And we're doing some other examples. And the next one is actually about relationships, but a little bit different.
I'll let you go. Sorry.
A little bit different. No, it's just a little bit different. And then you see, what applies most to you and what you can use best. And as you are listening to this, then you can, of course, also, if you wanted to, you could even transcribe parts of this. I mean, today you don't have to do that manually anymore. You can do it with AI and, and just replace the words and make your own exercises, right? Your own sequence.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yes, Mickey.
I found that useful just now. I felt a knot in my stomach, my gut, about am I willing to let go of not having enough money, the lack, and also a little something about am I willing to let go of having money as well? You know, thoughts around money's the root of all evil, all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
then
you're not letting go of having money, just to be clear. You're letting go of the resistance to having money,
resistance to having money.
right?
And then I felt lighter as I was going through that. I closed my eyes and I saw a lighter color. The question I have, Regina, is I've been working with lack. I've been observing this whole lack culture quite a lot in the last 6 months or so. And I'm trying to replace every time I say to myself or say out loud, I want this, with I would like. It seems to have a different energy. Would you agree with that?
It does to me as well. So I would agree. And it is about what it feels like to you as well. So the wanting does come, for most people at least, have a connotation of not having and therefore of lack. I would like to is, to me personally, it sounds a little bit more like I'm opening up that possibility. However, if it doesn't sound like that, then don't use it either, right? I think it's a bit personal sometimes. I like sometimes to use the word desire, even though that could have the same effect to you as want, you know? So you got to figure that out. So that's something to be figured out, maybe, but not so much with your figuring out brain or mind, but more with what it feels like.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. And different people might have different opinions about this. This is my take on it. Okay, Sabine, you had a question or
I just wanted to mention I got more relaxed during the process. And now, unfortunately, I am realizing I'm so tired. So not to be impolite, but I think I leave and watch the replay because I got so relaxed that I'm now so tired. I really need to take a nap right now.
Okay. Okay. No, that's totally fine, Sabine. You should, do what you need to do. And then you watch the replay, as a lot of other people will do who signed up. So that's definitely also something you can do and you use still, although you might not be watching this live. Okay, no problem. Also, yes, it does relax because maybe you just released a lot right now in this process. I mean, maybe there was a lot. Sometimes you think, oh, this is just such a simple process, but even just the welcoming we did in the beginning was a release. Even the welcoming without saying we want to release it after, is already a release in itself. Because most of the time we push it away. Okay. Thanks for being here. Okay. Anita, can you come on camera for a moment or not? Maybe, or at least say hi.
Hi, Regina. How are you? I'm sorry, I'm in a lunch with people around me, but I'm listening.
Okay.
I have my headphones on. I'm here.
Okay, great. All the way from Spain. Okay, so Rogerio has a question. This question of having money takes to a place that I would have to work a lot. I have to work too much for it, and it would make me lose my life doing it. Okay, so just observe that. When you do the exercise, just welcome it. We're going to do another exercise now, which will make this probably clearer, although it's on a different topic, Rogerio, because you welcome in any images in the next exercise also, or in any thoughts that just come, and you welcome them. And it will still help you release instead of, if you push them away, they will just get stickier. Okay. Yeah, Sabrina has a question too.
No, it's not a
Or comment.
yeah. Maybe because when I start to feel many things in my body, like a pain in my heart when you were saying, and really feel like a sorrow, very deep sadness, and come to my mind some image and a thought, I believe, like came to, I don't know why, but appeared is in my mind. Not having money make a lot of deaths in my life, in the life of my family. So come the abortions, people that die. So usually come like this. This is the resistance of the experience, because my body really feel not having money. I don't want to, I want to resist. I feel I need to resist not having money. Do you know, like I feel rigid. So I want to know more now.
Okay, so do you have to figure everything out?
If I figure out,
So in this process, the less
Yeah.
you focus on figuring out, the more. So what you can do, I'm going to give you the answer first, okay?
Okay.
Just do this over and over as long as you need, and just and try to allow yourself just go with the flow of those questions, and do them as long as you need, so that you feel the resistance drop away, because this is not about figuring it out with your mind. Okay.
Yeah, but appear in my body. My body wants to resist. Do you know?
Right.
If I release the lack not having money,
Mhm.
was kind of I will fail. I will die. Do you know? My body feel like I need to resist. Come on. Do you know? I feel my body really strong.
Okay.
So was not my mind. So I was thinking, okay, what I should do if my body resists more and more when you were
Mhm.
talking. Can you release? No, my body. No. No.
The body is bracing itself because it's
Yeah.
resisting the release. Okay, so we're going to do a different method later where we focus more on the body, actually. But now,
Okay.
for right now, the more you can just relax into the process and allow it to be repetitive, I'm pretty sure this is going to help it, you know?
Okay.
So you do it again and again and again, and you try different ways. You could also just say, can I welcome this resistance from my body right now? That's a way of bringing that in, right? So can I just allow myself to, can I welcome my body resisting this? Can I
Okay.
welcome my body wanting to hold on to this for a little longer, for just now? That takes the resistance out of the resistance, so to speak. Yes?
Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah. Makes sense. Thank
And
you.
sometimes it doesn't make sense, so that's also okay. All right, so, okay, so should we do a next one? What about, actually, you know what? Why don't we do, has anybody ever felt like you're not worthy or undeserving or something? Should we do that first? Okay, Mickey. Anybody else? And then we go into the relationship one, Karen, after that. Is that okay? Okay, yes, please, says Anita. Okay, let's do this one. Because I think that applies, you know, to anything, really. It really does. So I mentioned before, just as a reminder, right? When we welcome something, we actually can release it more easily because it takes away its weight. So for starters, could you welcome all the stories that you have ever come up with about the topic of not being worthy or not being deserving? Could you welcome anything that might somehow be evidence that it's actually true that you're unworthy or undeserving of whatever, whether it's money, whether it's a relationship, whether it's the partner or the life you want, the job you want, the income you want, the business you want, it doesn't matter. So welcome all those stories that seem to prove that it's true that you're not worthy, that you're unworthy, undeserving, maybe even unlovable, unlikable. And welcome all the evidence of you not being worthy of money, love, your dream job. Welcome all the proof, all the reasons, all the confirmations that you think you have in you or that you have seen for you not being worthy, all the stories. Just welcome them. And then could you welcome any wanting to change these stories and justifications of you not being worthy? So could you welcome any feelings of wanting to change or fix anything that has to do with this? Just welcome it. And could you welcome any attachment to you being unworthy or undeserving in any way? Could you welcome any images or thoughts that are coming up in this context for you? Any experiences, anything that you maybe did that made you somehow believe you're not worthy? Or other people's behaviors? Or could you also welcome now any aversion to being unworthy? Any rejection of being unworthy? Any not wanting to be worthy? Unworthy, sorry. Any not wanting to be unworthy? And could you also welcome any wanting to be worthy? So could you just welcome it all? And now could you welcome any sense that all this bullshit about being worthy or unworthy actually is about you personally? Could you welcome any sense that this entire unworthiness scam is about you personally? About who you are? And what if being worthy were just a concept that was invented to control us all? Like, for example, when you score enough points, you suddenly become worthy. You get approval. When you have enough money in your bank account, you all of a sudden are more worthy of somebody's attention or whatever. When you get good grades at school, you become worthy of your parents' love or your teachers' praise or approval. And you're validated as a human being. That's all horseshit. Elephant shit. So could you welcome any perception that this crap about being worthy is about you? And if you're indeed a part of consciousness, and if you are consciousness and not really a separate self, because aren't we all one, then is it even possible that you are unworthy or undeserving? And does it even matter whether you're worthy or not? And what if this whole worthy and unworthy talk was just total utter nonsense imposed on you by someone who wants to keep you small? Or what if this whole deserving or undeserving is just bullshit? And what if maybe you imposed it on yourself as the creator of it all? So once again, could you simply welcome any sense of either being unworthy or non-deserving of anything? Money, your dream job, a nice house or apartment, the car you want, love, sex, whatever. Could you welcome the perception that your dreams don't matter because you're not worthy of them? Just welcome it as best you can. And could you welcome that sensation or perception of somehow not being worthy or deserving? And then could you welcome the feeling that you are beyond worthiness and unworthiness, that what you are is beyond that you cannot even be measured in worth or worthiness or value. And then again, welcome any sense of feeling unworthy or undeserving. And then could you welcome too that which is beyond all worth, that is neither worthy or unworthy. And then again, could you welcome any sense of being unworthy, any of that nonsense? And then could you welcome anything in you that seems to need or crave confirmation of your worth or worthiness, that external validation? And could you welcome that which is beyond worthiness and unworthiness, that which is beyond validation, beyond any need for permission or approval or confirmation? And could you welcome your true nature, that which you are? And how does that feel now? And are there any questions? Karen.
Wow, that was powerful. That was really, really powerful. And I felt I've done a lot of work on the worthiness, because I agree with you. I think that is where most of our issues come from. And the validation, I kind of like validation, because that tells you that you're not going down the wrong path necessarily, that it's helpful to have that validation, so you don't keep going in the wrong direction. For me, and that's another aside, but it was really powerful, and I felt it go from my gut to my heart and up to my throat, and I still feel it in my throat. But it's so cool. I love it. Thank you so much, Gina.
Thank you. And just to go back to validation, it's about not being dependent on validation.
Right.
Right. It's really about that.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, we measure our progress, I mean, we still live in this physical body in this world. We have to function in that way, but it doesn't mean that we depend on it, or that our worth depends on anything that we achieve or that we have or whatever, right? Or even that we do.
Absolutely. And I love that. I mean, we have our own validation, right? If we feel good and we can look down 2 weeks and we're still feeling good about it, then it's right. That's all the
That's right
validation
for
we
you.
need.
Exactly. That's right
Yeah.
for you. Right.
Right for you, and everyone is different. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, thank you, Karen. Thanks for making that comment. And Anita is saying that was amazing. Thank you. I will want to put this on repeat for a while. Yeah, sure. I totally connect there with my little child who seeked and craved for validation for love. Okay, great. Yes, and again, this is one that I also adapted this from Hale's work. So I will always give credit if somebody was the creator. I didn't leave it exactly as he had it, but this is probably the closest of the three that I left the closest to how he did it, how I heard it from him, or how I thought I heard it from him, right? So, okay. Are we ready to move on to the relationship one already? Oh, Karen?
Did you want to take a bio break at this moment or
You
no?
are absolutely right. We could do that now or after the relationship one, because after the
Whatever.
relationship one, we might do another one of these, although we are getting a little bit tight in time. So yeah, we could do a bio break now. What if we keep it to 3 minutes? Would you be okay with that, guys? Okay, 3 minutes bio break.
This incredible mold remover gel can restore
The mold remover gel.
your bathroom and tiles.
Sorry for that. I had to put on some music actually.
Moyo wangu unaimba sasa chini ya mti wa upendo asili. Kelele za maji zanikumbatia, nuru ya mwezi huleta faraja. Amani inashuka taratibu ndani ya roho yenye shangwe. Sauti za ndege ni mwongozo, hekima ya dunia inanijaza. Kora ya upepo inapapasa ngozi, wimbo wa jembe unasema mimi nasilai chini ya ua, wanirudisha kwenye mizizi yangu.
Okay, as soon as you're ready, I'm ready. Okay, welcome back to everyone who's back already. I'm just gonna get ready for the next one then. Find place. Waiting here for a few more people. Okay. All right, so I promised you a relationship release, so let's do that now, okay? And then I'm gonna make this a little short, and then we see how we feel. We could do another one on a goal before we go into the next completely different section or not. So we'll see how that feels, okay? All right, and yes, yawning is always good, Sabrina. That's also releasing, as you know. It's always great. Okay, so So we're going to work on resistance to having relationships and also to not having them, right? Being alone or being in a relationship, whether it's a romantic one, a work relationship, whatever relationship. You can use this for a friendship, a business relationship, whatever it is. Okay? A marriage. So I'm not splitting up marriages here. Just want to be clear. Disclaimer. Okay? All right. So should we get started already? Okay. So now, could you welcome any resistance to having relationships or a specific relationship that you're thinking of right now and that you may want to have or end, but feel resistance to having or ending? And I'm gonna do this mostly in one direction, but you could do it in both directions, okay? And then the best you can you let go of resisting having relationships or having a relationship, a specific one? And then notice if there's any resistance to not having a relationship. So again, could you welcome any resistance to having a relationship? And then welcome any resistance to not having a relationship. And again, this goes for both if you would like to have one now or not, right? You can use it for both. And then could you let go of that feeling of resistance? And then could you welcome any resistance to having relationships or a specific relationship? And then as best you can, could you let go of that feeling of resistance? Just for now. And could you let go of that resistance to not having a relationship? And then could you let go of any resistance to having a relationship? And could you just set this resistance free as best you can in this moment, just for now? And I'm keeping this one a bit shorter, but when you do this on your own, you can again go back and forth as long as you feel is necessary for you in that situation, okay? All right. Are there any questions right now? Anita, nice to see you.
See you. Nice to see you too. Yeah, I'm finding I have so much resistance in this one.
Yeah, so you would really go back and forth and also welcome the resistance, right? So if it's more helpful sometimes of just saying too fast, could you let go of the resistance? You welcome it in and you allow yourself to hold on. So you could just say, okay, could I allow myself to hold on to this resistance for just a bit longer?
Yeah.
Really fine, because the allowing and the welcoming actually also transmutes resistance. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? So are you ready to work? Would you like to work on a goal shortly? Or should we go into the other totally different method? What is your appetite telling you?
Do you mean goals generally?
A goal or a desire? It could be your heart's desire. It could be a goal. It could be any goal you have, and then we would work on, you know, the resistance to that goal. It could be a wealth goal. It could be whatever it is, right? And then we would do some releases on beliefs around that goal that could have kept you stuck. Is that something you want to do, guys and gals? Yes? Okay. Okay, let's do that then. And again, you can do this longer when you do it on your own, okay? So I would like you to now write down a goal or a desire. So it could be a wealth goal, whatever. So, and the way you write it down is I allow myself to have. So for example, if it's a wealth goal, I allow myself to have a net income of $1 million a year with ease. Something not too long, but you know, something that sounds right to you. And once you have that, then think of all the beliefs you can currently think of that are in the way of that goal. And then I would like to hear some of those beliefs that came up for you. And there are probably many more than we can mention, but just to a few that are coming up for people. Any beliefs that are popping into your mind that could be in the way, limiting beliefs.
You're never going to do it.
Okay.
Having a team.
Okay, so but what's the belief?
The belief is that I have to have a team to do it with the ease that I want to have it.
Okay.
Oh, trust. Trust. Yeah. A team I can trust.
Okay. Okay. Anita, did you want to say anything?
So I used your example as a goal. I find it amazing. And the first thing that popped into my mind was, how on earth would I do it? I don't see how. So I fell into the house.
Okay, fell into the house. So there's so could that be a belief around the how might be difficult, or the how might be hard, or the how might be hard work, or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's just do then some, you know, whatever your beliefs are, doesn't matter. They can all be addressed with this one process, okay? So let's do some releases on beliefs relating to, yeah. Are most people's goals around money, actually? Everybody? Does anyone have a different goal? Seems like everyone's are around money. Okay, all right. So you could do it for something different, of course, right? So let's do some releases on beliefs around money then. So while working on beliefs in this method, we do it in the past tense, because everything you have ever thought or said about money, that's all in the past. Remember, your beliefs are just memories, right? So as part of this release, I will ask you repeatedly if something is coming from a place of wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness. And that's directly taken from Hale's work, right? So what that means is that most of our beliefs have an intention of either getting approval or validation, we could call it, approval, or achieving control, or getting security, or having a feeling of separation from somebody, or a feeling of oneness with somebody or with it all, right? So whichever of, or something, right? So whichever of those 5 comes up first, just use that. Don't overthink it. We're not overthinking, we're not figuring it out. So you don't need to make sense of all of this. Your subconscious knows what to do, so just play along. And if you really open yourself up here, then whatever belief has been stopping you can be released right now, because it's really just a memory and it's energy. Okay, so let's go. Can you allow yourself to bring up a belief you used to hold about money and about your financial abundance, your financial independence, prosperity, wealth, or about success? And now we're doing what Sabrina said earlier. Notice what comes with it. We can do it with the other ones too, but here I'm asking you expressly. Notice what comes with that. Any tension in your body, any sensations in your body, any images, any sounds, thoughts, or phrases that tag along. And now ask yourself, does that belief seem tied to a wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness? And there's no need to write this down, by the way. Trust your knowingness, your inner knowingness. So, does this belief seem connected to a wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness? And whichever of those feels strongest right now, most intense, could you just let that go, just for now, as best you can? The wanting, you are letting go, the wanting of approval, the wanting of control, the wanting of security, of separation, of oneness, okay? And could you also let go of wanting to believe that story again? Now, what's another belief you used to carry around about money, financial abundance, prosperity, wealth, or success? Or you could also keep working with the same one all along. It's up to you. That's fine too. So bring it, if it's the same one, just bring it back up and check, is there a part of you that wants to fix the fact that you ever believed this? And if so, could you let that go? And again, could you let go of wanting to make that belief real again? And let's go deeper. Whether it's the same belief or a different one, can you sense any impulse to defend it or prove it right? Confirm it. And if you notice that, and could you just release that impulse, even for a moment, for now, and let go of wanting to keep that belief alive? And then check, are you trying to understand it, to figure it out, to give it meaning, to explain it all? And if so, could you let go of needing to make sense of it, of needing to figure it out? And could you also let go of holding on to it at all? And bring up another belief about money, financial abundance, prosperity, wealth, success, and then notice again what physical sensations or internal noise show up with it. Really look underneath. Is it connected to wanting approval, to wanting control, security, separation, or oneness? And could you let that go too? And let go of wanting to believe it again? And let's bring up one more belief, any old story, or the same one that you've told yourself about money, abundance, or success. Is there a part of you that wants to justify that or explain where it came from? And if so, could you let go of that too? And once more, could you let go of wanting to believe that? And come back to that belief for a moment about money, financial abundance, prosperity, wealth. And notice what shows up. The sounds, pictures, or sensations in your body. And again, look under the surface. Is it hooked into wanting approval, control, security, separation, or oneness? And whichever of those stands out, could you let that wanting go? And could you also just let go of wanting to change what you believed? Do you let go of trying to make that story real again? And of wanting to change it? And if you sense any urge to explain it or justify it, defend it, argue for it, could you release that too now? Just for now, could you let go of wanting to believe it again? And you can come back to this process as many times as needed. And you'll feel when the charge is gone. So do it as long as there's charge, okay? When you do it on your own. All right, as many repetitions as you need to the belief, for the belief to be dissolved. And trust yourself to feel it. All right. So what is 110 minutes in hours? Yeah, we should move on to the other to the other method, I guess. Unless there are any questions, which I would want to answer quick.
Not a question, but that was a great one for me, Regina. This letting go of wanting to change. I've been involved in change all my life, inner work and professionally as well. And let go of wanting to change just brought a smile to my face. Thank you.
Yeah, it's actually letting go of something, right? When you welcome it. Isn't that amazing? Okay. All right, so let's then switch to Brian Ridgway's level 5 work, which is yet another method for you to move into greater freedom, utilize your inner power more and your innate inner power, I should say, and enjoy more peace, more lightness, more aliveness, and more joy. And Brian also calls this spell breaking, because they're breaking spells that we have accumulated. So let's do this. So this is mainly about the early lies and limitations we learn already as very young children. You know that we learn a lot of stuff that doesn't really serve us as children and later on in life too, and then also some stuff that does serve us, right? And that does serve what we really want to experience. Now, there are those 5 lies that Brian talks about. It's not okay to be, meaning it's not okay to even exist. The second is it's not okay to be me. It's not okay to be myself. The third is it's not okay to express who I am, maybe you could say. It's not okay to ask is the fourth one. Ask for what I desire, right? What I would like to experience. And the fifth is it's not okay to receive, or you could say it's not okay to have. And you might also add it's not safe to feel, or it's not safe to want, or whatever those are. It's not safe to is something that is oftentimes the reason why we don't actually dare to have it, right? So, as many of you know, or all of you probably know, these beliefs usually form really early in life when we experience emotional pain or perceived rejection, for example, and then we internalize those moments as truth, but they aren't really truth. We carry these so-called spells, in this case, into adulthood, and then we wonder why we shrink, why we freeze, why we don't ask, why we try to fix ourselves over and over. But there's really nothing to be fixed about ourselves. And we deeply internalize those distortions that shape also how we actually show up in life. And we limit what we believe is possible, reinforces separation to the abundance around us that we actually have already created through our consciousness, right? So if you want to experience this abundance as well, then the only thing we really want to master is to bring this abundance into our experience, because we've technically already created it. And here's what's really awesome, just like we said before, our beliefs and all this baggage or memories, these lessons or spells were never true either. They were never yours. They actually are memories that you can dissolve. They are energy. So just quickly, we often talk about trauma, right? And we often think that trauma has to be something very, very dramatic, but it's not really true. Trauma isn't so much about what happens, it's about what got stuck. So it's the emotion that didn't get to move when you had a certain experience, because maybe it didn't feel safe to express it, and it didn't feel safe to be. And that's why sometimes it can be something seemingly small that had a big effect on you. right? A big impact on you as a little girl or boy. So traumas are really, or traumata are really emotions that got stuck because they were not expressed when we had a certain experience during which we didn't feel safe to express them. Okay. So, and then again, just the basics real quick. So your inner children, we talk a lot about your inner children in this work. Those are those inner frozen children, as Brian calls them, frozen children, who had those experiences, and they are still there. They're still present in us somewhere, or around us, however you want to see that. And they are waiting to be heard and listened to, and to be seen and to be felt, and to be given permission to feel what they never got to feel because they learned that feeling their emotions wasn't safe. And it wasn't wanted by the adults around them because the adults didn't feel safe feeling their own emotions. And so they didn't want their children to express their emotions because they didn't really want to deal with that oftentimes. A lot of adults didn't want to, right? So again, emotions are energy in motion. And what we get to do with energy is really up to us then, right? We could transmute it if you wanted to. So we transmute it and it literally just becomes a different energy. So you may also hear me say we dissolve emotions or digest emotions. That's the same idea as transmuting. It's not about getting rid of the emotion. It's not about suppressing it because then it goes back into the undigested place and it stays stuck. And that's not what we want. Okay. So step one is always noticing when emotions come up, and we're doing some of that now together. So first of all, I'm going to ask you to learn the specific breath that Brian also uses in his work together with me. And this is called 5-layer breathing. And then once you have practiced this, and I'm going to actually take one of you through the whole process that you can do yourself at home as a so-called self-spell break. Okay, but first of all, I want to guide you through the breathing because it's really important to get that breathing right. And it's very, very beneficial also for your health. So before anything else, let's do that breath together and let's just experience it together. And it's really your natural state of presence and consciousness that we want to move into. Yes, of feeling greater peace, calm, power, and freedom through it. So first of all, please take an upright position so that your breath can flow freely from the top of your head to the base of your spine. Soften your shoulders. So you don't want to be stiff, but upright. And then what we're going to do is belly breathing, abdominal breathing, right? So you breathe in through your nose, all the way down into your belly, and you breathe out through your mouth. And then, of course, you do this at your own pace, not at the pace I'm talking. Inhaling deeply through the nose, all the way down into your belly, allowing your belly to expand, to stick out. And then exhale through the mouth. And you might notice that your tongue is placed to the roof of the mouth in the inhale. And then you open your mouth as you exhale. Always breathing into your belly first and then letting the air rise into your chest. And then you're going to focus on making your inhalation and your exhalation about the same duration. So you match the length of the inhale and exhale. Allowing your breath to become more even through this. again in your own rhythm. Okay. Now breathe even more deeply, bringing in even more air with your inhales. And as a next step, focus on smoothing out your breathing. Turning your breathing into a continuous wave, making it effortless, easy, smooth and even. And now, while still breathing in that same way, bring a gentle smile to your face. Bringing in love from your heart, allowing in calmness. And continue to breathe in that way, while allowing the smile to do its thing too. Okay, so this is the breath we're going to use throughout the rest of this session, okay? You can use this breathing anytime you need, or just make it a practice throughout your day. This is a natural way of breathing that we would be doing if we hadn't at some point unlearned it and learned it in the other way, that shallow breathing that we do most of the day, right? So how many of you feel already a little calmer, more peaceful? Okay, great. All right, so now in the next part of this session, what we're gonna do is I am going to work with one of you, okay? One of you needs to be on video, okay? So it's like a hot seat, basically, but everybody is going to get the benefit from this. So it's not that just the one person gets the benefit. Everybody is getting the benefit, always. Okay? Who is my volunteer? I need one volunteer, and I'm going to just allow Sabrina to come back before we start. Okay. A sip of water for me. And anyone else who needs it. And then I would like you all to really stay in this upright position and keep breathing in this way throughout the session. That's how you get the most benefit. While we're doing this, don't write anything down. Okay, just be present and with us. Okay, so where's my volunteer?
Well, if no one else is going to do it.
Yay. There are a few people also who have experienced it. Maybe, maybe it's that. So not everybody, of course. Yeah. Are you ready, Karen?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So stay unmuted. Okay. For everyone else, it's also for you. I'm working with everybody at the same time. All right. So, Karen, we're going to do this in a way, although not all the sessions look the same normally, and there's a lot more to it than we could cover also in just one hot seat here. It doesn't always look exactly the same. This is an example, and I'm going to do the first part of it in a way that it's replicable for everybody, so that everybody can do this on their own afterward with this recording. Okay? All right. So Karen. You will get to choose one topic, one thing, one situation that you will be working on today here, okay? And you don't have to say it right away. I'm going to ask you in just a bit what it is, all right? And everyone else, it could be something else, but you know what? When one person shows up here, it's usually that that person carries it for all of us, and we all have a piece of it. Because we're all one, aren't we? So it's just the expression in one of us of that thing that we all hold somehow, including me. All right. So Karen, welcome to your session.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous, to be quite honest.
There's no need to be nervous, so just play along. Again, you know, allow yourself to be nervous, even there's no need. It's totally fine. It's not a problem. The breathing will actually also help with that, right? Just welcome the nervousness for a moment. There's nothing you can do wrong. There's nothing that can, you know, there's no wrong or right. So there's no possibility of doing it wrong.
So let's have some fun.
Okay. Do I understand that you have suffered long enough, or that you have endured this situation that you're going to bring to us long enough, and that you're ready to shift?
Absolutely.
Okay. And are you open to the possibility that you are the creator of your reality?
Absolutely.
The possibility alone is fine. Yeah. For anyone else, I'm saying that too. Okay. And are you open to seeing whatever your topic you will bring to us today from a different perspective that might be more beneficial?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to let you know, Karen, that I may interrupt you sometimes or pause you when you're sharing your situation, and that's not to be rude in any way. It's not because there's anything wrong with how you're explaining it. It's just that sometimes it's most beneficial if we just pause there, and it's not always necessary to hear the entire story. Okay?
Yes.
And what I'm actually also watching out is for language, but don't restrict yourself through that while you're bringing your story. So what is the situation that I might be able to support you with today?
I think attracting people as paying clients.
Okay. So you said you are the creator of your reality earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and you also agreed with me at some point in this session, right, that we are all one. There's oneness, right? So then, do you actually even need to attract people? Or could it be that you're already one with them?
Oh, great concept. Yes.
So what if they were just a reflection of something in you? Whether they show up or not, right? As
Mhm.
clients. Is that a possibility?
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's just come back to this situation that you're bringing with, yeah, so this thinking, as you said, of needing to attract more clients. Okay. What is an emotion that you feel about this situation? However you expressed it doesn't really matter right now. But what is, if you look at that situation, what's an emotion you are feeling at this time?
Frustration. Frustration.
Okay. So, what if I told you that frustration is mostly a set of thoughts and of thought processes? So, I get what you're saying. You know, it's not to disprove of it or, yeah, in any way. But what if we focused on true emotions right now? And if I had you choose between anger, sadness, or fear, which one of those would describe best what you feel right now?
Sadness is the first thing that comes up.
Okay. Sadness. Okay.
Fear second. Mhm.
Okay. So you're saying then, if I got that right from you, if I heard that correctly, sadness is the strongest emotion right now?
It is.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
So now take just a moment, and you might do this with your eyes closed or open for right now. And take a moment to tune into your body. Everybody else play along. This is not just for Karen, it's for everyone. And scan your body from head to toe, all the way from the top of your head to your toes. And from right to left or left to right. And as you're doing this, do you notice any sensation in your body or any sensations? There might be multiple sensations, of course, but if so, what's the strongest, most prominent sensation that you're noticing right now?
A stuckness in my throat.
Okay.
It's kind of like closing up a little bit.
Okay, so a stuckness, a closing up in your throat. If you had just to describe this stuckness further, how would you do that? Maybe does it have a shape or a texture or a color or temperature, whatever?
It feels like a seed, sort of, a large, like a plum seed, just blocking, not blocking the airway, but blocking my ability to share my wisdom.
Okay. So let's just stick with the sensation, and there's no need to interpret or judge in any way right now. Just sticking with the sensation in your body that is somehow also related to that emotion that you mentioned earlier of sadness, right? So that's when it came up. So, okay, so it's this closing up. So what's the intensity of this sensation on a scale from 1 to 10?
I hate to say it, but as soon as I acknowledged it, it went down to like, it was at an 8 or a 9. And it went right down to about a 2 after I acknowledged the
Okay.
size, the shape, the feel. Hate to do that to you.
No, not at all. No, there's no judging, and it's just beautiful. It's you know, it's just what happens, and anything is beautiful that could happen here, because we're just really observing what's going on, right? So sometimes those shifts in intensity happen very quickly, and sometimes they take a little bit longer, and either way is fine.
Okay, now it's coming back again on a little bit different shape.
Okay, let us know.
It's more like the hilt of a sword going crosswise with a little, like a dagger going up. Interesting.
Okay, sword and a dagger going up. So it's moving now.
Mm. But the large seed of the plum is, so it's just a lot smaller, but sharper.
Smaller but sharper. So it's changed. It's moved. There's been motion. Okay. And what's the intensity of that now?
A 6.
A 6. Okay. All right. And then you might notice that there's a center of that sensation somewhere. Even if it's moving around, maybe you can make out a center where it's the strongest right now. And you could use your fingers if you want to, if you know, because this is easy to reach. If somebody else is noticing a sensation somewhere in your body where you cannot reach it, there's no need to actually use your hands or fingers. But you could, if you can reach it. What's most important is that you focus your awareness into this area. And I see you're using your right hand, your fingers, so you could leave your fingers there, or you could have them rest on your lap or wherever, whenever you want to. And now just flow all of your awareness into that sensation, into the center of that sensation, becoming one with it. And when you're ready, let's start the 5-layer breath together that we did before, if you haven't already. So I'm going to again offer you some gentle prompts to guide you through the 5 layers or steps. And remember, it's abdominal breathing. So you will breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Inhaling deeply through the nose, drawing the air all the way into your belly, allowing your belly to expand first before the air rises into your chest. And then contracting your belly before exhaling through your mouth. And on the inhale, you place your tongue to the roof of the mouth, of the palate. And now, again, make your inhalation and exhalation about the same length. Matching your inhales and exhales without any rush at all. In your own rhythm. And again, this is for everyone. And if you need to, check on your posture from time to time, and now breathe even more deeply. Really allowing your belly to stick out with the air that's in it. Filling it with more air with each inhale as much as possible. Now it's time to smooth out any remaining edges, creases, pauses in your breath. Making it smooth and even and easy. And then when you're ready, bring a gentle smile to your face. Soft smile. Allowing in calmness. Inviting in love, compassion, while continuing to breathe. And maybe you want to imagine your breath going down all the way into your thighs. And maybe you want to imagine bringing the smile all the way from your heart. And just continue breathing in this way for a few more moments. In and out, allowing it to flow as if it were a wave on an ocean. And when you're ready, and with your eyes still closed, bring your awareness back to the sensation in your throat, in your body. And what do you notice about the sensation now?
It's gone.
It's gone. Okay. So I'm not going to ask you about that number, but maybe for everyone else.
0.
Yeah. Okay, maybe for everyone else, just notice whether there have been any shifts, changes, and what that number is for you now. And now, continuing to work with you, Karen. For right now, let's just quickly bring this awareness into your systems, shall we? And then we're going to keep working on what else is there. For right now, could you please repeat after me? I now attune all of my systems
I now attune all of my systems
to this new awareness
to this new awareness
as I invite, admit,
admit,
and allow it to expand.
and allow it to expand.
Really allow this expansion to happen, whether you feel it or not, it's happening. Sometimes we might feel it actually in your body, in your energy, and sometimes not so much, and that's okay too. And then as you listen to the replay and you're doing this on your own, just know that this integration will be continuing, and you can favor the integration by staying with yourself for a moment, by resting or taking a nap, or by just walking in nature, whatever feels right and is a possibility for you in that moment, staying away from electronics maybe. Okay, so now we are moving along in the session. Karen, about the situation that you mentioned about wanting to, as you said, attract more clients, or may I just assume that you want paying clients, right? Is that
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
Okay. So as you think about the situation right now, first of all, notice if anything has changed. Has it the same weight?
It is more of kind of a curiosity
Okay.
of being more visible And as you help me see, it's more than just paying clients. It's a lot more than that. But I want to be more visible and enjoy it, and people will come when it's right.
Okay. So is there anything else that's to work on in this situation though? So, we're here to work on this, right? So
Yes,
this is
yes.
for you. Okay.
So I guess a way to release, and I don't know if this process is the right one for this, Regina, but
There's no right or wrong situation. So yeah.
Well, I have my magic wand here, so
Okay, great. I want to, by the way.
Oh, I like that.
It's a dowsing thing. Dowsing stick. Anyway.
Releasing anything that I am not seeing. To allow my goals to come to me easily.
Okay, let's just move away from the releasing idea for a moment. So what is the situation? Let's just don't think about the how.
Yeah. Not thinking about the how. Yeah, my desire is to have income regularly.
Okay, so regular income. Okay, so for everybody else, it could always be something that you want more or less of, right? That you desire more of or less of. Okay. We use a lot the word prefer, would prefer more of or less of in this work, which works really well for this. Okay. Because what we really want to have is more of our preferred experiences, right? All right, which could look different for different people, as always. Now, as you're saying, okay, a more, you said regular, right? The word was
regular. Yeah.
Regular income. Okay.
Consistent.
More consistent income. Okay. So as you're thinking of that situation right now, what's the emotion that's coming up right now? If you had to choose between sadness, fear, or anger?
I guess fear.
Fear.
Fear that it's not happening fast enough.
Okay. So what situation does that remind you of? Is there any situation you or experience you recall of when you were maybe little? It's always a good idea to go back as far as possible, in your life, as early to situations as early as possible in your life, because everything else really, although there might all, you might have a lot of related experiences, they are usually a reflection of that one first experience. They are echoes or something to that extent, right? So what is an experience you can recall where you maybe felt fear because something wasn't happening, or that in any way reminds you of this fear? Or it wasn't happening fast enough, or whatever that was.
Interesting. The image that came up first and was more of an anger. I couldn't have what I wanted. More than a fear. That's the first image I was probably 4 or 5, maybe 3 or 4.
Okay. So
Yeah.
take us into that situation. What happened then? And by the way, I just want to, before you do that, I want to clarify something else. There might be emotions coming up, coming through you, even also maybe an unexpected one that's not anger or fear right now, or rather sadness. So just don't force anything, just allow it. Okay. It doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't have to come through, but it can come through. And you're here in a place where that's absolutely fine and actually very beneficial. And for anyone else, it's the same, because even if I'm not directly working with you, the same thing could happen. Okay. So
Yeah, emotions change, don't they?
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, I couldn't have what I wanted and going back to I'm not worthy of it.
Yeah, there's no need to interpret. Just go to
Okay.
the
Thank
situation.
you. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
So the situation was that I wanted cookies,
Mhm.
and my mom said no, they are way too expensive. We're getting the cheap cookies.
Okay. You wanted the more expensive cookies and you were getting the cheap cookies. Okay. So what did you feel in that moment?
Anger. Why couldn't we? Why couldn't we just once? What? Not like we're poor.
Okay. So can you allow yourself to feel that anger and to step back into that situation for a moment? And could you just allow yourself out loud or silently, as you prefer, to say anything that you felt like saying to your mother in that moment that you didn't say? Maybe because it didn't feel safe to say it, or for some other reason. And if you do it silently, just let me know when you're done. And every one of you do the same and check your posture. And keep breathing as much as possible.
Okay.
You done? Okay. And now, could you allow yourself to see your mother as playing that role in your life of allowing you to have that experience? Because didn't you say that you're the creator of your reality, right? So could it be that for some reason or other that might not make sense right now, you wanted to have this experience in this lifetime? And could it be that somehow you even created your mother in this role, in this way, for the situation, so you could have this experience? Or could you accept that possibility? And the possibility is enough.
Yes.
Okay. And given that you can accept this possibility, could you look your mother in her eyes as a little 4 or 5-year-old Karen? And could you see that unlimited being that's in there, in that consciousness that's also in your mother. And could you see that? Do you allow yourself to see that?
I'm not quite sure. So the little girl, me, little Karen, is looking at my mom.
Mm-hmm. You look her in the eyes, and now you look a little bit deeper where you can see that unlimited being.
Who she really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you're seeing that, could you forgive her for saying this in that moment, that the cookies are too expensive?
Yes.
Okay.
I could see where she was coming from.
Okay. And then,
As a little girl, though, that's it.
yeah,
Or
yes, absolutely. Totally fine, Karen. So now we're looking, we're looking into her eyes, seeing the one that's behind that. And if it's easier, do it as the adult Karen. It's not so much about the reasoning where she was coming from and she wanted to save money. It's more about she was playing that role somehow in your life so you could have that experience.
yeah.
And could you forgive her then?
Yes.
Okay. And could you forgive yourself for having played this and carried this along your entire life and played it out again and again and again in new experiences just to confirm what you, quote unquote, learned back then? That certain cookies were not for you, but only for other people. Because they were too expensive for you. And can you see how that has been carried along by you to different experiences? And this, by the way, is for everyone. We all do this, right? And can you forgive yourself for doing that, Karen? For creating all those reflections and echoes of this one experience? We often call this a pattern, but is it really a pattern? It's more like a reflection, isn't it?
Yeah. I can say yes, but I'm not sure I am there yet.
Okay. All right. So,
because why not? Why not forgive that little one? I mean, honestly, it is our perceptions that only.
yeah, the little one is just reminding you.
Yeah.
It's about forgiving you, the adult one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could you do that? Because you know what happens, Karen? You couldn't have done anything different because you learned it in that moment. The little 4 or 5-year-old didn't really have any filters. We don't at that age. We just look at our parents and they are the ones who literally sustain our lives. We depend on them. They keep us alive. We want them to love us. We love them. So we are sometimes a bit afraid as well of what they might say. They want their approval. So it doesn't feel safe to say what we really wanted to say in that moment, does it? So isn't it only logical that you picked up that conclusion that you might not be deserving or worthy or whatever we worked on before with the other method of having those more expensive cookies? Or more money in your bank account to buy those expensive cookies.
And having that show up over and over again in different ways that I did not see or feel had anything to do with that, but that image has been popping up a lot lately. So
Yeah.
obviously there was something, and thank you. Yeah.
And it's the little
Yes,
Karen
yes.
who's
In that
reminding
case,
you.
of course I can.
Yeah. And
Of course I
when can you forgive yourself?
I can do that right now.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a matter of bringing it to my awareness. And once I am aware of something, I can forgive myself or start to take the actions.
Okay.
But dang it, yes. I just didn't see it. Thank you, Regina.
Okay. So now you know who's been nagging at you and with those images? The little Karen.
Yeah.
Those inner frozen children, there are several maybe even, right? But that little Karen has been nagging for you to actually listen and see her and finally feel that emotion. Whether
Yeah.
that's anger or fear, and not suppress that emotion anymore.
And I thought that I did that,
Okay.
but obviously no, because I can feel the release
Okay, so
of
maybe you
forgiveness.
didn't do it with the breathing
So exactly. I
in the
think the
way we're
breathing
doing it
definitely
today.
helped. Exactly. Exactly. So forgiving my mom, but I didn't forgive me. And I was redoing that through the years. So being able to now recognize that I've been repeating that and forgiving me is really, whoa. And that breathing definitely helped. So thank you. Wow.
And you can do this anytime. You can also, if you feel a need ever, this is something that for me personally is very, very effective to go into the emotion until I feel like it's 100%, the most intense it can get. And then going into the breathing and not even, you could do it while you're breathing, or you could try it the other way around, which I personally have tried. That's not necessarily how Brian would say it, but I have also tried it the other way around and just allowed myself to go into the emotion very, very deeply until it couldn't get any more intense, and then really go even more into the breathing. And sometimes it's even hard in the beginning because the emotion is so strong, especially when it's sadness sometimes, that, hi Bijou, that we can't, it takes a little while to go into the breathing, to get into the rhythm of it, into the pace of it, but it comes. And that's another way of doing it that I personally have experienced, even if I don't know if Brian would approve of it, but it doesn't matter to me, my work, right? So then I noticed that the more that I went into the breathing, that actually the emotion would just dissolve by itself. And it sometimes was so quick. It was like from the height of 100%, all of a sudden was plum, it plummeted. And it was gone, transmuted and dissolved. So that's another way that I can suggest if you want to experiment with it. But that is the other way that I did with you before is the Brian way, okay? And we're not done, but I'm just saying this. So welcome, Pejou. I'm going to talk to you in just a bit as we're in the middle of this. And you can, of course, see or listen to the rest later. Okay, great to see you. Okay, Karen. So now, and everyone else, right, as you're doing this with Karen, it's never just for the one person that's in the hot seat. It's for everyone. The benefit is also for everyone. So now, Karen, as you allow yourself to come back into your adult Karen fully, I think you've already been doing this, but now, could you just turn around for a moment again And sometimes we do this differently, but this is, I think, what's most beneficial right now, right? So, and could you look at one version of the little Karen that got frozen there in the past somehow? And could you just, with your eyes closed or open, maybe it's better with your eyes closed for this part, just look in the little Karen's eyes. Maybe you want to kneel down on the floor to be at the same eye height. And could you give her a hug? Maybe she wants a hug. You could ask her if you want.
Yeah.
And look her in the eyes and say, hey, you know what, little Karen, I'm here now for you. Going forward, I'm not going to ignore you. I'm not going to disregard your feelings. And whenever you have an emotion that you want to remind me of that's to be dissolved, that would be more beneficial for me to dissolve, to transmute, then I'm going to listen to you and we're going to sit together and we'll always be united from now on, and we're going to do this together every single time. I promise you that. And then when you're ready, you could let go of the hug and just say goodbye for now, although she's actually going to be with you anyway. They're united, no longer separate, right? Okay, and there might be more of those little Karen versions, frozen versions, and then you just honor them from now on. How would that be?
Wonderful.
Okay, so now, as you're thinking of those more expensive cookies, what does that feel like?
I'm a big girl now. I can have those if I want to.
Right, and can you have more of your preferred clients?
Absolutely. Yes.
And if there's any doubt about that still, then just shake that off.
Yeah, love it. Just like the dogs, right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
now, yeah, cool. And what about that consistent income? What does that feel like now?
I'm actively putting things into place to
Okay.
make it.
Right. Well, but independently of that, right? Because sometimes we do it actively and we do it with a lot of pushing, but we're still not allowing ourselves to get it, right? So,
Well, again, it is what I realized is exactly as you were saying. For years, I was pushing. Now I am actively putting things in place that feel good all the time.
great. So now, if you could just say, up until now,
Up until now,
I believed and perceived
I believed and perceived
that I could not have consistent income.
that I believed that I could not have consistent income.
But maybe that's just a whole bunch of bullshit.
That is a whole bunch of bullshit.
Maybe that's just a bunch of conclusion that I somehow created from that experience as a little girl.
That was a
Let's
conclusion
say
that
it. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. And maybe this was just a bunch of conclusions that I might have created from that experience.
maybe it's just a bunch of conclusions that I created from that experience as a little girl.
Yeah. And also understandable.
And maybe that's understandable.
But maybe it's also just a whole bunch of horseshit.
Maybe it's just a whole bunch of bull hockey.
Right. And maybe I could just leave it there.
And maybe I can leave it right there.
And I don't have to carry those conclusions around with me anymore as my truth, because they are not truth.
And I don't have to carry those conclusions around with me anymore because they're not my truth.
And what does that feel like now?
Releasing.
Okay, and just shake the rest of it off. Whoa. Really feel it in your spine. Whoa.
Oh.
Okay. And now, please repeat after me. I now retrieve all of my energies
I now retrieve all of my energies
bound up in this scene
bound up in this scene
where my mother said the cookies were too expensive for us.
where my mother said the cookies were too expensive for us.
And in all of my reactions to this scene,
And all of my reactions to this scene,
in all my conclusions,
and all of my conclusions,
all my decisions,
all of my decisions,
all my echoes and reflections related to this scene.
and all my echoes and reflections related to this scene.
And I take all of those energies back
And I take all of those energies back
to the perfect place in my true self now.
to the perfect place in my true self now.
And take a deep breath and check your posture and keep breathing. And let that sink in. And allow those energies that were bound up in that experience to come back to you. Only the ones that were yours. To the perfect place in your true self now. And now repeat after me. I now remove all non-me energies.
I now remove all me.
No, I now remove all non-me energies
I now remove all non-me energies
related to the scene
related to this scene
where I was denied the expensive cookies.
where I was denied the expensive cookies.
And my mom said I couldn't have them.
And my mom said I couldn't have them.
And I was angry.
And I was angry.
I remove all those non-me energies from all my cells.
I now remove all those non-me energies from all of my cells.
And all of my selves.
And all of my selves.
All my tissues, all my bodies.
All my tissues, all my bodies.
All my systems.
All my systems.
In all universes.
In all universes.
And from what I perceive to be my personal space.
And from what I perceive to be my personal space.
And I send all these non-me energies back.
And I send all these non-me energies back
to their pristine origins.
To their pristine origins.
In infinite possibilities.
And infinite possibilities.
And allow those energies that are not yours and you might have carried around, allow them just to move out of your energy, of your systems, of your cells, yourselves, tissues. And now please repeat after me again. I now attune all of my systems.
I now attune all of my systems.
Through this new awareness.
Through this new awareness.
As I invite.
As I invite.
Admit.
Admit.
And allow it to expand.
And allow it to expand.
Again, allow it to expand.
I allow it to expand.
And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Okay.
Wow, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for allowing us all to have this experience. I think that was really for everyone. And Piju, it's great that you could still join us, even if for the last bit, whatever you missed, you will get in the replay. So definitely listen to that. We did a lot of great releases with the Sedona method as well before, so different methodology. Okay.
Thanks so much.
Great.
It's a bit noisy here. Yeah, my flight got canceled and it was just a mess. But I'm so glad I was able to make this particular one.
Okay.
Definitely needed that.
Okay, where are you flying to?
I just flew back to New York.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Texas. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going back to New Jersey. Okay, cool. Well, I wish you the best for that. Maybe there's doing some of those releases that we did earlier. You can do those next time when you have that flight miss. You know, it works for any situation. Okay. And again, thank you, Karen, for being in the hot seat. So yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So any other observations? And I have a question though before we do that. Is everybody okay if we just run over just a few minutes? Yes? Okay. Okay, thanks. Okay. So then I don't have to rush. That's good. So any observations? Was this also for you, or would you like to make any other observations or questions you have? We haven't heard from Thaisis yet, but maybe she's in a place where she cannot talk. I'm not sure. Oh, here you go. Now we see you. Can you talk? Can you unmute?
Sorry. Hello, nice to meet you.
Yeah, lovely to meet you too. Where are you?
I am good, and you?
In where? Sorry?
Yes, I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, and where are you?
Yes, I'm good too. So yeah, it was very good because I'm a pass for the same situation. I would like more clients. Yes, it was good.
See, isn't that amazing how we usually are in a group where there's some of the same and we all carry some of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's not clients for someone, maybe some people have a job, then it's something else that is related to this topic, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing that.
No worries. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to have you with us. Okay, all right. Barbie might have become busy, or maybe just not be able to put the to switch the camera on right now. And Rogerio, it's not working, so we know that. Okay, yeah. So, any other questions around about this process or comments?
What was Brian's last name?
Ridgway.
Ridgway, thank you.
Yeah, there are a few books out, like Your New Beginning, which might give you a little bit more. I put it here in the chat, which gives you a little more background. So some of the people who are on have read the book, and it always helps because, you know, today I wanted to really bring in two methods, and I wanted to bring in a piece of me too, so people could get to know me if they didn't already, and also get a flavor of how I like to work. Okay, Barbie has company right now. Okay, great. Thanks for letting us know, Barbie. So the thing is, you know, I wanted to make it not just, okay, this is Brian Ridgway. I'm going to do different sessions with different content in the future. I could have explained much more about each of the two methods, especially about Brian's Okay. Yes, yes, yes. I can do that. I'm gonna make a note of that, Thais. Thais. Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna just copy that real quick to have it. And so, you know, if you wanted to read the book, that, and if you're really interested in doing more work in this direction, then it's probably helpful to read it. You don't have to have read it. Like I also have, for example, a few clients that I've worked with this method who are not fluent in English and who are not really so comfortable reading it in English. So what I did is also at some point, for example, for a couple of German clients, I summarized it in my own way a little bit. And nowadays, of course, with AI, that's a bit faster than it used to be. And then, you know, I just gave them a summary in my own words in a way. And of course, you know, I also, for everybody who works with me one-on-one, I pick the most important content and I explain it a little bit more in the first session. That's why the first session usually is 90 minutes at least, and not shorter. And usually those client sessions for these methods are up to 75 minutes. Well, sometimes they could even go a little longer, you know, but that's sort of the standard in my case, 60 to 75 minutes. While my coaching sessions usually are 45 minutes, and there's a good reason for both. So, okay, any other questions? Okay, so we will have a few more minutes after, if that's desired, right? But I do also want to give you that option that I talked about earlier about taking this to the next level. So you're here today because you're here and you wanted to experience this. And at the same time, some people are always ready to take this to the next level. Some people who are here or who will be listening to the replay actually already have experienced this work with me in one-on-one sessions. And some people, although I only started doing the particular Brian Ridgway method, the level 5 method a few months ago, have already repeated, which is awesome. Also, there are testimonials on my website for that, which, you know, I'm not going to bore you now reading all those testimonials, but you can look those up yourself if you're interested. And if you want to take this to the next level, then I do have a very special offer for you today, and that is not available forever. Okay, that is available here now, and it's also available for the people who watch the replay still. So I'm going to make it available until Tuesday to give everybody a chance to watch this. If you're watching the replay, then it's available until Tuesday. So I'm offering right now 4 one-on-one sessions at $997. So just to give you context, my regular coaching programs are $5,000 for about 10 sessions. So this is a significant opportunity. And plus you'll also get the recordings of your sessions to revisit as many times as you want. And as a bonus for right now, I'm also throwing in the Kindle version of my new book, Living My Freaking Amazing Life, if you don't have that yet. So you can deepen the work we do together in the one-on-one sessions with the inspiration and insights from my own experiences, which I collected in this book. The one-on-one sessions are really designed to help you move fast and deep. Okay, so really clearing any emotional clutter, bringing it to the surface so we can dissolve and transmute it, uncovering hidden blocks. We could do this with, you know, the method of your preference, or we could mix it up. That is something that we can always decide in a personal conversation. And then, of course, not just bringing them up, but really releasing or dissolving, so that you can move, as the title of today's session was also Your Way Forward. So you can actually keep moving forward with clarity and confidence. And so you can experience your life in greater peace, in greater freedom, and just more life. that's what I love to have in my life, right? Feeling more alive and less caught up in my thought processes and in my routines and what we call patterns, which are really reflections, right? So as I said, this offer is valid today throughout Tuesday for replay viewers. And there's no funnel for this. There's no funnel page or whatever, no fluff, because this is really only available for those who signed up for this masterclass. And it's one-on-one focused transformation. So I need to give you the link. I'm going to put it in the chat. This is the sign up link. It's just literally a payment link, because I haven't really created a sales page for this, as it's only available now. But I will get an email, of course, and I will see that you're signed up. So if this is for you, it's up to you. And yeah, so in 4 sessions, you can get to a point, and that's from the experience that some of my clients have had already, where you can make this a new way of living. If you commit to really doing it, to watch the replays and really commit to also doing the breathing and everything that comes with it, right? And yeah, so I said I'm not going to bore you reading the testimonials. I can just quickly just give you an overview of those to get you an idea. Let me just see if I can share my screen real quick. So here are a few of them, right? There are people here from the US, from Germany, from Spain, from these from Norway. So these are the people that I put on here on my page. This is the Freedom Coaching page on my website. Okay, that's that. So if this is for you, feel free to sign up. If not, I'm okay with it too. And yeah, any other questions or questions about the offer? Any other comments? What have you gotten out of this?
This has been amazing, Regina. Thank you so much for making it all possible. And wow. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, and also for being in the hot seat, and for really showing up again in my life. I know we've always been connected on LinkedIn and whatnot, and we see each other's posts, and we don't always get to talk. So this is lovely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And don't forget our magic wand and dowsing.
Exactly. Some magic in our lives is always nice. Okay.
Feeling very
Regina,
grateful for your session.
oh, sorry.
Feeling very grateful for your session, Regina. I gained a lot from it today, and it was an afternoon well spent in England for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm very glad. I'm happy to hear that.
Regina, will you be sending us emails with the link
Yes.
in case we want to? Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you for this. I absolutely loved it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
And thanks to Karen for volunteering to be in the hot seat. Appreciated that.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for saying that too. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, everyone. Yes, and the way it works with the replay is I am going to, once it's processed, which always takes a little while, I will download it from Zoom, and then I will upload it to my YouTube channel. And you will get it. It would only be shared with you as a private email. Okay, so it's not going to be publicly available, of course. So no one will have the link, but the people who signed up for this, whether they have been here now or not. Okay. All right. So everyone, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have this first group session with this content. I've really enjoyed being with you. I'm very grateful for this opportunity and for having it in my life. and for also, you know, getting my share of the release from Karen's hot seat for sure. And I look forward to, yeah, seeing you around. Maybe you want to unmute, all of you, all that can unmute for right now, and just say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you. I got a
Thank
lot out
you.
of the last bit. Thank you so much. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
You all.
Thank you.
Bye bye,
Bye.
Regina. Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Bye.